This video was brought to you by Markus Bil, Elbilmek, ABRP, Steurenberg, Kempower and Bilkomponenter. Yo, what's up? We have now lived in this house for 7 months, and in this video I'm going to show you how much energy we spend on it, and then we try to break down what did we spend it on, how efficient is a heat pump, and what other conditions are here. So yeah, I made a similar video a couple of months ago, and that was during winter months. So now things have changed during spring, and well, I think it's safe to say we are in summer now. I can show you first, this is a screen from the Nybe heat pump on the inside, and you see that for November we had well, I guess normal for a typical the start of winter, right? And the graph here, I don't know if you can see what is going on here. So 1,438 kilowatt hour is what the heat pump needed as energy, electricity, and then it could produce almost 4,000 kilowatt hour heat energy. So that's COP of 2.75. And then for December, it was worse because it got colder. I think, I'm not sure if it was really cold at some times. Maybe we had that in January, but then okay, the COP went worse. And then in January, yeah, that's when we got the really cold weather. And I think the reason why it's so bad, the COP, is because if the temperature drops below 25, I think it was, or some minus 20 degrees Celsius, the heat pump stops working, and then it runs PTC, and then COP is 1. So that's maybe one of the reasons why it's so bad. And then for February, it suddenly became better. You know, everything gets warmer, and then the COP rises. And then for March, again, even better. But April was just even better again, as expected. No, it was May. It was May. Yeah. May was just crazy. You spent almost nothing in electricity. But I've taken all that data and I added everything in a spreadsheet so we can see the correlation between everything. So you see that we started living here in November last year, and we have the average temperature here. It was the coldest in January, but even December was quite cold. And then we see how, yeah, and nowadays it is actually somewhat warm, for at least for Norway. So high average temperature. Total energy is what we have spent total. This is from the Elvia app, actually, yeah, or the grid company app. We spend a lot of energy. It's like, whoa, some people are like, damn, that's a lot of kilowatt hour in just 1 month. Yeah, I remember some of the crazy cold days in January. I spent 300 kilowatt hour per day. That's madness, man. Most of it for heating. But you see that, I don't know if you noticed, but even in May, we still have somewhat high energy consumption. We're like, hey, Bjørn, is your house not efficient? Well, no, actually, my house is really, really efficient. When you look in Tibber, there are lots of stuff in Tibber, but you can see that my house is some of the most efficient out there compared to other houses in similar size. So, yeah. And back here, you have to look at what is going on here. So when it comes to heating, yes, we spend a lot of energy for heating, mainly because the PTC kicked in. I mean, eventually we're going to get the air-to-air heat pump. Actually place it roughly behind there. And at least that air-to-air heat pump should work down to minus 30 degrees Celsius. The Nybe heat pump, I'm not sure what's up with that, why it's kind of weak and it doesn't work that cold, but at least the air-to-air heat pump is way faster. A waterborne system has quite a long lag from the time you dial up the temperature or dial down the temperature. Well, what happens when you dial up the temperature? It will start producing more heat, and then the whole water needs to flow in the floor, and then it slowly heats up, you know. And that could take, I don't know, 24 hours or way over 10 hours before the system reacts. You know, it's a slow system, but sorry, it's a little bit allergies. What is nice about the waterborne system is that you get the heat from beneath, and heat rises, so you get a nice comfort here. And also you get a really stable temperature. So when the temperature swings a lot outside, and the temperature inside is really stable, it changes very, very little. That's also because we have 3-layer glass in the windows and also really thick walls. So the house, like I said, you know, it's super efficient. And we can actually feel it nowadays when it's hot and sun is shining in. I was like, oh, then it gets hot. But okay, but when it comes to what happens in the system when you dial down the temperature, well, the NIBE system, or at least the heat pump system, the way we have bought it, it cannot cool. I already asked the company who installed it. It cannot cool, and I can explain to you guys the physics that I don't know if you never noticed, but in an office building, I used to work in an office, there would be a radiator by the window. This was an old office building, but then they have installed this, looks like cooling fan, right, on the above you, on the ceiling, and that's for cooling. So if you want to heat up, you either heat from beneath, or you heat from the window where you have the radiator. When you want to cool, you do that from above. Sorry, allergies and stuff. But here in this house, or in the waterborne system, there is no heat exchanger for transferring coal, whatever, coal, well, you know, the coal into the house. So the only way then when I dial down the temperature is that the house will slowly cool down. But there is always a butt crack. We have the ventilation system. So I'm trying to figure out how to adjust the ventilation system. I'm not sure, but the ventilation system is by default, they have a heat recovery system so that the inside air, which is nice and warm, passes through the heat recovery system on the way out, and then heat is scavenged from it into the heat that into the fresh air that goes into the house. So in that way, you minimize the heat loss. Otherwise, you will be pumping nice and warm air right out. That's not very smart. But in summer, like now, it would be nice to run the house on only fans. Yes, I know that's the way for me to save money, to run only fans, but I haven't figured out how to do it because there is a little remote control in the out or whatever, like a panel on the second floor where you can only adjust fan speed from 1 to 4, and then e-Niro said that they recommended to run it on 2 because of the size of the house and the airflow needed to get fresh air. But then we run it at 3 nowadays during summer when it's hot, at least. We couldn't even run it at 4, but it seems like 4 is some kind of overboost, and then it defaults back to whatever you had before, like 3 or 2 or 1, after maybe half an hour, 1 hour. So yeah, I heard that you can disable the heat recovery, and then it will actually pump hot 28 degrees Celsius air out, and then pull in maybe 20 or 25 degrees in, which is actually good enough. I felt this in at least a car, that if you run only fans, it will still be okay cooling inside the car, and the same should be for the house. But the house is way bigger than the car in volume, but yeah. But I haven't figured out how to do that. I have a system air, it's called system air save. I haven't, that was Dolly, yeah, she does that. It's a chihuahua, it's not me farting. I would not fart in video, not even a live stream, and I would just press the mute button and then fart and then unmute. But yeah, so maybe you guys know, how do I turn off the heat recovery system? There's no way for me to adjust the temperature. If that was a way, yeah, I could turn down the temperature in the air conditioning. Well, not air conditioning, in the ventilation system, and it will automatically turn off the heat recovery system. I don't know how to do it. I tried to ask Morgan. He asked me what model it is. I'm like, there is no model name on the whatever on the panel there. So I'm like, okay, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe you guys can help me on that regard. So it sounds like it's a bit overkill to buy a heat pump, air-to-air heat pump, to cool down the house if we can run the house on only fans, especially during night. Go check now. Yeah, at night it is 14 degrees Celsius outside. We don't get 20 degrees Celsius at night over here. It's Norway, after all. We're in the Nordic countries. So it would be perfect to just cool down the house a little bit during the night. And then, yeah, so it doesn't heat up that fast. There was one solution, of course, I tried, which is to open a window, I opened the door on the second floor, a veranda door. Well, the problem is that we get insects and also dust and pollen in there. So it's not a good solution. Using the ventilation system is better because everything is filtered in and out, you know. So yeah, okay, back to this thing here. Okay, heating. It's just insane how little heating we need suddenly in May, even though it is cold-ish at night. Yeah, and also, like I mentioned, you know, the temperature in the house changes really slowly. It might increase or decrease by just 1 degree Celsius per hour on normal condition, unless the sun is blasting in, then it could rise faster. And then here, charging. Okay, I need to explain here. Interesting is that we have something called strømstøtte, which is that the government supports us when the peak, when the price is really high, but they have a limit. So the limit is 5,000 kilowatt hour. I was afraid I would hit the limit in January, also maybe in December, but especially in January. So that's why I actually, during those months, I tried to charge more outside. I went to the supercharger with the Falcon, with the the Teslas from Marcus, you know, because I have free supercharging on my account. And that actually meant that, yeah, it seems to be lower than normal. It's not like I didn't drive and hammer and do my test like before. It's just that every time I finish a challenge, for example, I would then go to a supercharger or Ioniq or something and then top up there until maybe 60-70%, depending on how fast the car was charging. And then I would go home and charge the rest. But, you know, ultimately, it means that I'm then charging on maybe 3 to 4 NOK per kilowatt hour versus charging at home for 1 to 2 NOK per kilowatt hour. So even without the government support, if I blow the 5,000 kilowatt hour limit, it would probably still be cheaper to charge at home. So it was just me being hysterical about, oh no, I don't want to blow the 5,000 kilowatt hour limit. But even when we have those crazy peak during winter, when the price goes to, let's say, 5-6 NOK per kilowatt hour, it only lasts for a very short time. And like I mentioned, even when it was the coldest time of the day, you know, minus 25 degrees Celsius, it would mean that you only have to spend 10 kilowatts for a couple of hours maximum. So it's not gonna be that much compared to expensive fast charging outside my home. But okay, whatever. So basically what I'm saying is that the electricity in Norway is so cheap that it's still better to charge at home. That's my experience after this. And also the inconvenience of having to go and charge outside the home, you know, versus just coming home and then you can do something else. But okay, so that's why it is low on those months. But you see, this is more normal. Yeah, I'm actually not sure why it seems to increase. What was happening in April? Well, okay, there are so many factors here. It could be that I was testing some thirsty cars. There could be many reasons why April suddenly had higher, but it seems like when I have normal activity, I spend around 1,500 kilowatt hour home charging. Oh, you know what? You know, there are so many factors here. One explanation could be that from April, Amri's parents came here. They're actually gone already. Yeah, they left. That's why it's a little bit chaotic now at home before I can get a babysitter. They left home earlier than expected. Yeah, some family issues. I can't tell you too much about it. Nothing serious, more like, okay. But yeah, the rest here, I have to explain, what is the rest thing here? Well, I should have broken this down in several tables. I just kept it in one table, but you have to look at maybe these numbers, you know, these 4 lines. The rest remaining is whatever you have here, minus here, minus here, and then you get the remaining. And during winter, at least, I had to run the dehumidifier in the garage quite a lot because usually in winter we have snow and rain, well, maybe not that much rain, but you know, snow and ice and stuff, and that gets in the garage, and that's probably why we have to spend a little bit more. Plus that during some of the winter months here, we had to run some additional heater, just a resistive heater in the house, not that much, maybe pulling only around 1 kilowatt in some of the houses, some of the rooms here. That could also be the reason why, but you see that during springtime, then suddenly became better. We didn't have to run the dehumidifier much at all. Nowadays, I'm not running it. And then, but what the heck happened in May? Why is it higher? Well, then we suddenly started using the air conditioner. We have those portable air conditioner. They pull about 1 kilowatt. We have actually 2 now. So yeah, that's probably the reason why. And also in here, in the rest here, we also have cooking, we have computer, we have whatever we do, like that is here. But I actually don't charge on Sjuko. So all the charging that has been done has been registered via Tibber. Well, Tibber finds it, but also registered via Easy. 3 Easy boxes I have. And then what is this peak power? Well, it is actually kilowatt hour per hour. Yeah, the Germans were right. No, but they measure how many kilowatt hour you spend in 1 hour, because they measure the average. And the peak is what is saved then for that period. And then they take the 3 highest peak for the month and they average that again. So which means that, you know, I have 43 kilowatt into the house possible. So if I fire up all the easy boxes and I cook and I whatever, run the air conditioner, I could pull 43 kilowatt. But if I do that for only 10 minutes, it's not going to be a problem. But if I pull it for an hour, then it becomes a problem, right? Then you have a 43 kilowatt peak, but then you have to do it 3 times before you get this. And yeah, I mean, as long as you don't go too crazy in the power, you don't get that much penalty on it. So I'm trying to stay not too high. So during winter months, I had no other choice. Sometimes I had to charge the car. I could maybe charge slower. It's not must have to charge it at 10 kilowatt, but still, I think that's what I tried to do. But the whole system was just pulling a lot of heat and stuff. So that's what happened there. But yeah, normally I would try to stay lower, around 15 kilowatts. And then the peak power cost is also depending on that. So yeah, as long as you don't go too crazy, then you don't have to pay too much on the peak power cost. So I'm not sure if other countries has implemented this yet, but it is to encourage people to not spend too much power, to not kill the grid if a lot of people want to charge and cook and spend a lot of power, you know, at the same time. So yeah, and then total cost is then the whole bill, the whole electricity bill. So actually you have to look at the total cost here versus this kind of, but with other factors, also peak power and stuff. So yeah, my electricity bill was freaking high during the winter months. It is better now, but still kind of high. But remember that here I also have charging, and then I could make the total cost at home lower, but then I'll be charging outside my home at higher price. So it's still better to charge at home, always best to charge at home. And then this is also interesting, the government support. So this, like I mentioned earlier, it's the limit I was talking about, the 5,000 kilowatt hour limit. So the way it works is that they support people in Norway. They use the oil fund. Oh, I don't know where the money comes from, taxpayers' money. But they shave off their peaks. If it becomes really expensive, they will shave off the peak, and they take a big chunk of the bill when the spot price is really high. And that's what you see here. So it's actually total cost. This amount is included in total cost. Or I mean, how do you count it? Or you could take this plus this is what I would have paid if I didn't get the support. So you see, it could be actually almost 700 euros in January in just 1 month. But then you see the effect that once the spot price doesn't go crazy anymore, then the government support is not that high. And that's why when you look at the cost here, total cost, the bill, electricity bill, there is not that much difference in May versus in December, right? But I think this would be totally different in your country if you don't have this kind of support. And then here we see the total price. This is also including the grid fee. It's around 3 euro cents per kilowatt hour in transportation fee. All of that is included. And here especially you see that the whole peak shape, or I don't know what you call it, the government support, the effect of it is that the total price per kilowatt hour is kind of even, yeah. It's quite stable through the year. What the heck happened here? Why is that a lot higher? I think we had a weird April where the spot price was kind of high. I'm not sure what the heck happened there. Maybe I've miscalculated something. No, I'm not sure. I think I've done everything right now. But here we have the average spot price. Some people ask me, is this the same spot price throughout Europe? I'm not sure. Maybe it is. But yeah, and also this is just the average spot price. Sometimes, like actually today, right now, we have zero price. We only have to pay for the transportation fee. So I'm charging Neo ES8 right now. Only minus is ES8 can only take one phase charging. So it's pulling 3.7 kilowatt only. Yeah, I could hook on the transformer box here and I can pull 5.5 kilowatt from it. But whatever, I'm too lazy to do that because there was a tiny little losses there, but whatever. Okay, okay, last here. Here also we see the heater input that I have shown you earlier. So you can see the whole table here with all the other variables, and you can kind of figure out, yeah, how does it work here in the house. I see now that sun has entered the chat, it blows up everything. But yeah, that was a nice, hopefully that was an interesting video about what's going on in the house when it comes to energy and how things work, what kind of stuff I spend on, and you know, there are explanations on why I suddenly spend more energy here and versus there and so on. So this house is not final. For example, in summer months or spring, summer, you know, actually I think around 4 to 6 months of the year, I will be able to use the pool. And that means that the pool will be spending energy, but I have a heat pump in the pool, for the pool, not in the pool. I have the heat pump for the pool. So the heat pump, you know, imagine this, you know, what will the COP for the heat pump be? Well, in summer, it might be like now, 15 degrees, or in daytime, 20, 25 degrees Celsius outside. So let's say, yeah, 15, 20 degrees Celsius, and you have to heat it up to, I don't know what the inlet on the pool would be, 30, 40 degrees Celsius. That should result in quite high COP value, maybe COP 5 or 6, I'm not sure. So since I have the heat pump, I'm not going to spend that much on, you know, on heating up the pool. I saw also in the sticker, if you guys watched the early video, the heat pump has a heating power of, how much was it again? Was it 18 kilowatt? No, I think it was 17 kilowatt. But the heat pump fuse or the heat pump breaker is only 16 amp, which means 3.7 kilowatt. So I don't know how they calculate COP 5 or something. I don't know, 4 at least. Another thing we should also consider is that during summer months, we have way lower, we have lower spot price, and I can try to run the pool when the electricity is low, but it's not that simple. I think you can just set the temperature and then it will just do its thing, right? So I'm not expecting the pool to spend that much electricity. Another thing is that, you know, I always talk about that lamella cover. The cover for the pool is required by law because of safety. Animals and people, children, could fall in there. So you have to cover the pool when it's not in use. And I also want to cover it because I don't want schmutz, bird poop, leaves, insects in there when I'm not using it. So I only open the pool when I want to take photos or when we're going to use the pool. And also the pool has insulating effect, that cover. It will help insulate so that you don't lose the heat too much. But it also works as heat absorption, because when the sun is blasting on it, it's grayish. It's going to capture some of that solar radiation and actually work as a nice heater, a passive heater, whatever you call it. Yeah, I know it should be black. People say paint it black. Yeah, you can paint your pool cover black. I don't want a freaking matte black pool cover. Yeah. Many people have crazy ideas. You should do this. You should install solar panel. You should do this. You know. Yeah. Okay. You should plant trees. Yeah. Plant trees. Yes, I can plant trees to cover, to put on the shade. But for it to have an effect, it either needs to be really tall trees further away where it could where I have space, or I have to plant the tree on the freaking deck. Yeah, how about that? Or plant tree right in front of the house where I'm supposed to park the cars. Yeah, great idea. You do that with your house. I'm gonna do it with my house. Same vertical solar panel on the south-facing wall. Yeah, okay, you do that with your house. With my house, it will ruin the aesthetics. Plus that in summer months where we could have good heat. We could have good solar generation. We have low prices, you know. So, and electricity, as you guys see in the spreadsheet, electricity in Norway is quite cheap. It's dirt cheap actually compared to many European countries. So that's why it doesn't matter, or the return on investment for solar is somewhere between 10 and 30 years over here. So it's not Thailand, it's Norway, yeah. And in winter, we almost don't see the sun. The sun has left the chat during winter. Yeah, and what else should I say? Yeah, okay, so much stuff I could talk about, but this house is not final, and eventually I will get some kind of sunshade, SIP screen, whatever, but that's going to be expensive. I need to cover the SIP screen in a separate video, but eventually I will have a better system for cooling the house, for passive cooling, also for heating the house during winters. I can, you know, yeah, if the air-to-air heat pump that I will install eventually, if that one at least can run at minus 30 degrees Celsius, then I will run that heater and then just to dial down on the NIBE system, the waterborne system, since it doesn't go below minus 25 or whatever. So then I will at least be saving energy, not burning crazy amount of energy during winter months. And plus that eventually we should go to Thailand. At least we should do this a couple of years before Isabel has to start in school, right? So what you see now this winter is kind of not a typical winter. You know, the house is not 100% complete with all the equipment yet and all the facilities yet. So it will be interesting to see again over the next 6 months and the next winter, next year also, to see how things develop also when it comes to the charging and everything, right? So yeah, anyway, I think that's it. A quite long video, but I always find this topic interesting. I don't know about you guys. But okay, so that's gonna be it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching and talk to you later.